Sports. It's big freaking fans in Georgia State. Sitting here again talking about the same things.
Are we live? Are we live? Are we good? I think we're good. I think so. I think we're doing spectacular. Red, how's your voice?
It has healed up. So the video you guys saw that I uploaded today, that was recorded on Monday when it was probably at its worst, but I had literally no time left to not record. So it's a lot better. Thank fucking God, because I sounded like I had just gotten done smoking 20 Cuban cigars while getting my ass choked out by fucking Triple H or something. But you know what that illness was? Just the summary. The illness was the summary of what it was an entire week of nonsense and fuckery and debauchery, even, dare I say, in college football. Squid, I think you know what I'm about to say.
Perchance. Damn, that's messed up, bro. That's messed up. For the record, I did not do that. I did not boot him off the show. Something just booted him though. The timing of that was immaculate. You could not have timed that better. Welcome back, buddy. You were gonna say, was that what you were going to say? Because you said it better than I ever could.
I don't think I'm going to be able to ever say it that much better ever again while we're doing this fucking show. That was on its own fucking bullshit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I need a new camera, and we're fucking back. For everybody at home watching, my camera decided to rage quit just before we went live. That's why we're a minute or two late. So I had to bug out, come back, reset. And yeah, so I straight up, my camera said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going on strike. And it did.
No way that just happened, dude.
That
was hilarious. We're never gonna, nothing like that will ever be more perfectly timed than what that was right there. That was so funny.
Yeah. Greatest intro in show history yet.
No doubt. Gonna be hard to pass that one. All right. Well,
I guess so.
All right. Okay.
God damn it, Squid, get yourself together.
Shut up. You're the one who booted.
You shut the fuck up.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Anyway. So
voice is better.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, your camera ain't.
Yeah, my camera's the one that got the fucking flu or some shit. I don't know.
Right. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. This is going to be a short show here on the FBS Report to make up for the past 2-hour shows that we've did. We're going to go for about an hour today. Of course, we're going to talk about the all the playoff games of this week. We're going to talk about all the round one games. Of course, before I say anything else, Red over here has already, as he previously said, uploaded his playoff video. For those of you that are wondering where mine is at, which I am in the process of making one, it is almost complete. In fact, I am literally at the final section before it is done. Expect it to be uploaded tonight, anywhere between 10 o'clock to midnight. So for those of you who like to stay up in the after dark hours, Tardary After Dark, shout out to you guys. For those of you who do that, well, congratulations. That's when you'll get to see it. For those of you who don't and are going to bed early to wake up for the chaos incoming tomorrow, then by all means, well, you can watch it in the morning or the afternoon. So there you go. That's the that's what you're looking at right there. All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into some of the talks for today. And I guess we got to start out with the course of something that has happened well after the playoffs are revealed. We haven't really gotten much of a chance to deep dive into it. I uploaded a video about it, and then turns out way more stuff about it came out. And then I had to take it down because of how just absolutely insane it was. First,
to be completely fair, I thought it was quite funny. You just uploaded it like an hour too early. If you had waited like one more hour, you probably would have.
I waited 30 minutes.
The whole thing.
Literally 30 minutes later, that's when everything else came out. And then I just get a bunch of comments saying, "You should have waited. You should have waited. You should have waited. You should have waited." I know. Anyway,
hey,
we have a super chat from Ray and Gav.
Listen, at the end of the day, man. You should have waited.
Yeah, I know. per chance.
Like I did.
Thank you for the 2. He says, it's good to have you back, Red. Get well soon. Dem's the facts right there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and start out. So for those of you who have been living under a bridge, which however you're watching this show, I have no idea, but Sherrone Moore, former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, of course, it has been an episode for him. Last week, or the week before, he gets fired from the University of Michigan after details surface about his affair with a Michigan staffer. And the affair drove him out of a job, drove him out of a family as a family man. And then afterwards, after all those details were revealed, a couple of hours later, some more stuff gets revealed. He gets arrested. So now, he's awaiting his trial in court. And there really ain't much else really to describe it. We actually, thank goodness, I don't really have to say too much about it. We actually have a special guest in the back room who's going to tell us all about it. Indeed, First off, Daiso's here with a 2 says, I can't believe Jacksonville State won a non-con game. Yeah, we've had some phenomenal bowl games too. I'll say that much. We can touch on those too if we want.
Yeah, we definitely will. We got a special guest. You'll definitely know I can't talk about this topic without coming off incredibly biased because fuck Michigan and everything about it. So much for being Michigan men. Fuck you. But I got a friend of the channel who y'all have seen me bring into the chat a couple of times before. He usually hangs out on the Twitch side of the Red5478 universe. And he's also somebody who has been a great help for me in the background with finding certain sound effects and special effects and music with the videos, kind of like almost like an associate producer kind of thing. Anyways, enough talk. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Zep. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on. A Michigan man in the best possible sense, if that exists.
Good to have you.
A man with a lot of Michigan roots and is in the Steel City and repping a team who just blew back-to-back leads over the weekend.
Yeah, so double fuck you while you're at it, because fuck Pittsburgh and Michigan.
Hey, you have yet to see a Blue Jackets game in person, Red. Until you do that. And then again, Squid would know what hockey is because all he's got near him is Nashville. And are they good this year? Let me check. No.
Yeah, you didn't have to check. I think. Ice Bears are good, though. Shout out to the Ice Bears.
Zep, I want, first off, because you are a Michigan fan, I honestly just want to know what your overall reaction was to the Sherrone Moore bullshit that happened, because from my perspective, I didn't laugh. I didn't jump for joy. It kind of hit me like I was walking across the road and a fucking Brinks truck just ran my ass over. Like full on, no stop, under the tires completely. And then I'm looking around going, what the fuck just happened? So
the thing is, you at least got up. Michigan, I feel this is a cataclysmic occurrence for not only just the football team, but for the entire Michigan Wolverines organization. As you pointed out in your video, Red, Moore isn't the first guy to get fired for actions off the field. There's been a string of them, mostly coordinators and other smaller jobs. More
assistants to the assistant kind of guys.
However, think about it like this. First of all, your head coach is gone. There's no way they're bringing him back. No chance.
That means he's never getting a job again.
Unless it's
or at least not in
because I don't
football.
know with them.
Probably not.
But let me put it very clear. With Moore being gone, it's cast a big old black eye on the Wolverines, because not only are the Wolverines just close enough to Ohio State that they have to compete with them in terms of getting talent, but something you both know very well is the talent fee. Michigan does not have as steep a talent fee as Tennessee or Ohio State. So they're kind of, I mean, hey, look.
You mean they got Josh Underwood or Bryce Underwood, not Josh Underwood. I'm sorry. I just saw some news that dropped. We'll get into that later. I was about to say the name Josh was on my head.
That Bryce Underwood, the catalyst for this offense, for this team, has basically said, "No, I want out of here." So in the span of a week, you lose your head coach to crimes I don't even want to discuss because it would make me vomit and need a mint. You lose the catalyst for your team, meaning that you're going to have to maybe go dumpster diving, and good luck finding that in the transfer portal where you compete against the Buckeyes. And third of all, your new head coach is Biff Poggi. Biff Poggi, being somebody who watches the bottom 10 from ESPN, the bottom 25 from CBS, Biff Poggi is a name I know well because his only major gig has been at Charlotte. Now, the 49ers, no matter who they have, I mean, shoot, they could have Ryan Day as coach and maybe get 4 wins. They could maybe have Billy Napier as coach and they get 2 wins. Save the line. But I see this as like more of like, who are you bringing in? You have players who really just look at this and ask, why do I want to go here? Why would I, as a recruit, want to go somewhere that's basically imploded upon itself? As a university, why am I not looking into this system that's repeatedly failed? Because coordinator after coordinator has gone to vices, and now your head coach has too. Why isn't the athletic director investigating? And on top of that, keep in mind where they are. You have Indiana on the rise, Penn State existing, Ohio State basically running the conference, Oregon, they're usually a threat until they play the top team in the conference. Where do you sit as a team that's basically having to almost nuke it and come back up 2 years after basically Jim Harbaugh left and you had to, well, nuke it?
It feels like what we kind of see with a few teams and say like, God, what would be a good example? I like there's a lot of teams in the Houston market in the mid 2000s that got really hot, really successful, and then almost immediately just boom, full implosion and everything falls apart because they went all in, come hell or high water, and the bill came due. The sitting on this for a little over a week now, it really just feels like the bill finally came due for Michigan for the Jim Harbaugh years, because naturally Jim Harbaugh, he spent a lot of time trying to build Michigan into a national championship winning team. Not sure about how much. Tenor Horn 6'5" for the $5. Thank you. Not sure how much you know about how much all the allegations did Michigan school admins knew and how long. That's a great question, honestly, and one that nobody outside of maybe a couple of insiders that can't talk about it probably doesn't know.
And that's where the investigation into the athletic department would need to happen, because you can't, like, this is going to be a terrible example, but I can't think of anything else. With LSU hiring the new athletic director that they did, they should have seen a number of red flags about his Title IX violations. So in this case, you have an athletic director who's willingly overlooking some of the shortcomings from the coordinators and now the coach. And if this thing runs deeper, as was mentioned, how long do they know about this and just completely ignored it? Because this is not like with the Penn State stuff where you had one guy and a bunch of other people just kind of ignoring it. This is a pattern. You have a number of them were DUIs, which by comparison is still bad, but it's not.
It's child's play compared to what the fuck happened with Sharon. I mean, good God. You won't say it, but I don't care to say it. Dude cheats on his wife for years, gets dumped by his side piece, wouldn't leave this side piece alone, harasses her. Side piece then goes to the school and tells on him, blowing the cover that they have been keeping on it for the better part of 2 years. He goes to her house, breaks into her house, threatens her, threatens himself, and then goes to jail. So, like, but I see what you're getting at. Like, there's been a pattern of, and it's not even just like the DUIs. There's a couple of guys that I will not mention the charges on. I think you know who I'm talking about. That have been involved in. It's been sketch city for the Wolverines. I mean, Squid, I know as a Tennessee fan, you're somewhat removed from all this, but I mean, what are your general thoughts about the whole goddamn situation here?
Well, let me ask this before anything else. I kind of wanted to hold off, and this is important to note because I've heard details about this possible investigation that's going through the university. And what I want to know before anything else is, and this is a legitimate question, I'm not even trying to be, sarcastic or my usual. What I'm trying to ask here is adultery or cheating, is that a crime in the eyes of the NCAA?
No. Adultery, cheating on your wife is not technically an NCAA violation, but it can be, depending on who you cheat on the person with. It can be a code of conduct, code of ethics, HR violation, which is what got Sharon Moore the boot.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be that's the fine line there. The slippery slope is we know that in some cases it can be a problem, but which cases is that? And you don't know which ones the NCAA will look past, which ones they'll suddenly focus on. I mean, they do this all the time where they look at like specific things regarding NIL and they're like, oh, we got to punish that. And then somebody else does the same thing and they're like, oh, okay, we'll let that one slide. There's not a strict enforcement. So if they start getting on Michigan about this and start enforcing things going back all the way to 2023 or 22 when all the sign stealing and everything like that was happening, then what are we doing here? Are they actually going to go enforce it? I don't think so. I think that time has passed. It's been so many years past this point. What's the point? If they were going to vacate anything that's actually of worth, like the national title, they're going to do it a long time ago. So even if they do go back years from now, like they did with LSU and like vacate wins from like the 2016 season, like they do with LSU, it's like thing is, they're not going to care because it's going to be so far past. Now, obviously you could take away their title and then suddenly things change and then you can make a statement right there. But all this to say, in regards to Michigan's program as a whole, there's obviously been some really sketchy stuff going on there. And the fact that the university itself is the one running the investigation is the part where I know that nothing's going to happen. Because if the investigation itself is being run by the administration that's in trouble, they're just gonna be like, well, we looked around for 5 minutes, couldn't find anything bad. Well, whoop-de-doo. All right, our investigation's over and done with. That's what it's all going to come down to. I think there needs to be some sort of private firm that has to go and look at this program, investigate everything about that, and then make the decision for themselves. And this all goes back to the fact that there's no strict governing organization that enforces rules legitimately. And this was a problem that I mentioned back when they tried to punish Tennessee a couple of years ago over the whole paying Nico $4 million or riding around a private jet or whatever. It wasn't a rule at the time, and then suddenly it was a rule after the fact, and they tried to go back and be like, oh, you did this rule that we just made up. Time to punish you. Yeah, that's not how it works. What they were trying to do back then was they were trying to simply make a statement and then use Tennessee as the scapegoat. But all it did was just fall. They just fell flat on their face. So all that to say, I don't think anything's going to happen to the program. It's a horrific situation with Sharon Moore. And I feel horrible for the family because I can't imagine what they're going through. Those poor kids. wait, they're going to be woken up in a reality where that was their father and that's what he did. It's awful to see. I hate that. Yeah. And that's the part that pissed me off so much about it, is that if Sharon Moore didn't have a family and he was doing this, like if he was in this relationship and he wasn't in a family, didn't have a wife, didn't have kids.
Oh God! Then they would be on the news and on X being like, "Boys will be boys," and
literally, yeah, we'd probably still be making memes about it, more than likely. But
yeah,
the situation here and the fact that it involves a whole family and a group of innocent people that did no wrongdoing, it just makes the whole thing just horrible. And we can speculate all day or night long that it's like, it's just one offense from a program that has a consistent, bunch of offenses, or whether or not they're all conflicted together. What we do know, though, is that it's just a messed up situation, and I hate that for the family.
Indeed.
Yeah, and the closest draw I can give, like, just with the stuff within the department before everything happened, after Moore got fired, it feels like an odd parallel to what canned Ed Orgeron from LSU. However, Orgeron, after leaving, didn't completely go off the deep end. Moore did, and that is disgusting.
Yeah.
It is horrifying to think of. And you also keep in mind, again, this man had a family, as you were mentioning, Squid. So already, this is somebody who has completely thrown their life away. This is not like the Commanders when they dealt with the scandals they had, where they could internally investigate and be like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." With as national as the story has gotten, as big as this gotten, plus with as big as the University of Michigan is, I don't think they can get away with just, "Oh, we'll just do an internal investigation." No. You're going to have to face something, if not just the Big Ten looking into you, more than likely you're going to have the NCAA looking into you. And if they find that, like I have, there's that pattern, and it's been allowed, you're cooked.
Well, look, I'm just going to finish my thoughts by just simply saying this. I don't think that Michigan investigating themselves is going to mean dick unless Ward Manuel is on his ass on the curb. Because at the end of the day, I feel like after Moore got fired, I felt like the president of the school should have been like, "You know what? There's been too many goddamn crimes being committed here. We're just going to start everything over from scratch. Ward, pack your shit, get the fuck out." They're not doing that. Instead, they're going and doing an internal investigation ran by themselves, as far as I know. And we could say, "Oh, well, the Big Ten should investigate." Why the fuck would the Big Ten investigate Michigan? They're one of their top schools. Why would they willingly sully their conference when, the main problem child, as far as they're concerned, is currently awaiting its trial in January? And
if the NCAA forces them to.
The NCAA may not.
It doesn't have that power. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the last thing I want to mention. What power does the NCAA still have besides the governing body for the sports between all the programs? What the fuck can the NCAA even do? The last chance that the NCAA actually had, in my opinion, to do anything of any sort of weight was when the Harbaugh investigation finished, and they had the option to levy some actual severe penalties on Michigan for going out of their way to steal signs and cheat. And the NCAA basically just sat on their hands, gave Harbaugh no show cause, gave Sharon Moore a slap on the wrist, and swept it under the rug because they knew anything they tried to do was going to go to court and they might not win because they're kind of on a losing streak. They're the UMass of legal systems right now.
My bad.
Yeah, the only thing I can think that could happen is that if they are to investigate, it is to set a precedent, because with the NCAA, have they proven to not want to do this? In cases. With the conference, is it the same deal? Pretty much. However, between the Orgeron case, which was a blip on the radar, compared to now Moore, which is a black eye so big it makes Red's forehead look small, I think
Damn.
we're. Thank you. I'll be here all weekend. I think that what this should do is, if it doesn't set a precedent for like how this kind of stuff is handled in the future, it shows that the NCAA really, really just doesn't care so long as their guys can play football. That's an NFL thing, which we could talk about all day how that's a bad idea. But in college, I mean, shoot, it's like you're getting a bunch of Bulldogs, but worse. And we all know how much Squid
Great.
loves to hate on the Bulldogs, justifiably so.
Mhm. You know
I
it.
mean, I make jokes
Well-
about Red seeing Michigan gear because I know that's his biggest rival. But if Squid suddenly shows up in Georgia Bulldogs merch, I am going to actually wonder what kind of Twilight Zone moment I walked into. And
Or
then I'll
just
make
how
sure
much
this is
money he
tainted.
lost in a bet.
Yeah, the day that happens, the day that I wear Georgia merch is the day this a skinwalker takes over my body. So if you see that ever happen, run in the opposite direction. But I do have some good news for those of you in the comment section, or wherever else, wanting divine retribution because of what Michigan has done, waiting for them to get their punishment. I do have some good news for you. I think that's going to happen, but it's not going to be in the conventional way. What I think is going to happen is, they haven't had their coaching search yet. They're having to deal with all of this. It's probably going to what I would guess is going to happen is Biff Poggi is probably going to be promoted to the head coach. That would be my guess. But there's the other possibility, and this is one that I talked about earlier. This is also a significant possibility. So the thing is, with all of these coaches that are looking at the Michigan job, any legitimate real head coach that's at a program on an equal level with Michigan right now has no interest in going to that program, because if they do receive any sort of punishment, they want nothing to do with that. And that is a legitimate concern. So none of these legitimate coaches want anything to do with that. They want to stick with their program. And besides, most of these coaching hires have already been made, but there's one individual who's still in the ether, who's still in the coaching ether.
Kenny Burns.
Yeah. Oh, well, Kenny Burns. Yeah. That's also a possibility, but that's not the conventional one I was thinking of. It goes a little something like this.
Bill Moorhead?
I think they're forced to hire the Burger King.
Ryan Kelly. God fucking.
I think they're going to be forced to hire the Burger King.
I
think that's what's getting ready to happen.
I think they would rather deal with Biff Poggi for an interim year and then have him for 1 year and then just try again next year for a full-time coach. That's what when Tattoo Gate happened with Ohio State back in 2011 and Tressel resigned and very late in the coaching cycle for that year, they didn't try to hire a different head coach. They thought they had a guy, but they couldn't get one. So what they did is they went with Luke Fickell for a year, which ended with Ohio State's only losing season in the 21st century. They went 6-7 after losing the Gator Bowl to Florida. Yes, that was a weird fucking. Yeah, I know, right? Weird.
Okay, I'm sorry, everybody. The demon took over in me. Anyway,
I said the bad word. No.
Yeah, if this had happened, if all this had happened in like July, I would probably agree with you, and I would say that they would just take Poggi because they wouldn't have the time to do a coaching search. They'd be getting into fall camp by that point. But it's not even the turn of the newest year yet. We're not even in 2026. They have all the time in the world, and I think they're going to go through with it.
But what other? But like, come on,
we don't have. We're already 30 minutes into this show, so we got to. I wanted to let Zepp speak.
One more point.
Yeah,
coaching is already going to be bad enough, and I think they're going to end up with Poggi, which, considering his only time is with Charlotte, we don't really have a gauge on it because the 49ers have found everything but gold. But I think, moreover, you're having to replace Underwood, which is a key piece of the Michigan team, and you have to worry about building the rest of the team. Who would want to go to a program this messy? I mean, Red, you formerly played college. Red, you formerly played ball in college. If you were in this situation of getting an offer And Michigan was, and regardless of affiliation, if Michigan was to give you an offer like this, would you even consider it?
I mean, if I had no bias previously and I was getting similar offers from other schools, yeah, I told them to piss right the fuck off.
I don't think so, because again, you can get better offers from an Ohio State, from an SEC team. Hello, talent fee. You're basically stuck bargain bin hunting at an empty Dollar Tree, and I wish you luck, because when you have to be out Penn State for the scraps at the bottom, you are mega fucked. Yeah. I do not use that term lightly.
Well, Zep, I gotta say, man, this has been a pleasure to have you on camera, to finally see you in person and get the face behind the text, man, and very insightful commentary on the whole situation. Thank you for bringing your perspective to the show for this segment of it, and we'll definitely be talking to you again here very soon, I'm sure, and yeah, we'll be in touch about some of the other shows we talked to the show.
And meanwhile, I got some disappointing Penguins hockey to watch. Please don't blow a lead. Please don't blow a lead. Please don't blow a lead.
Yeah, the only constant is pain. So yeah, get ready for that. All right. Well, thank you, Zep, for being here on the show with us. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was fun having Michigander in the ether with this.
Yeah, definitely provided some great information on the Sharon Moore stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. There's all the time in the world for things to transpire with that. All right. Well, before we get into the latest with the bowl games, and of course we'll talk about the playoff games too. The transfer portal opened up as of recently, and we have a bunch of names that entered the portal, a bunch of big names that entered the transfer portal. The first one, of course, being Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. I didn't think he'd go through with that, but I guess it isn't the most surprising thing.
I mean, it don't surprise me a whole lot, especially if some of the rumors about Kenny Dillingham potentially jumping ship to Michigan here soon maybe might be true. I mean, but y'all's got to remember, like, what he's done damn near everything he wanted to do at Arizona State, and then coming into next year, I mean, they're going to be kind of really at the beginning of the beginning again. So who the fuck knows, honestly, but maybe he'll find a better offer on the portal. He might end up back at Arizona State, though. He didn't actually have that great of a year.
Right. And then, of course, we kind of all expected this one after the whole Billy Napier fiasco. DJ went the wrong way. He's hit the transfer portal. He has left Florida. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know who'd want him, but yes, Lagway has hit the portal.
I think that you're not going to find an SEC school that's going to want DJ Lagway. He might, at best, end up in a Big 12 school somewhere.
Penn State. Penn State. Yeah.
Penn State, maybe at the Big 10. I mean, fuck, Arizona State. They need a quarterback now. I could see that as a pretty decent fit for DJ, honestly.
Well, we got to get into these bowl games, so I'll just list off some of these other quarterbacks that enter the portal, and then we can get a move on here. North Texas, Drew Messmaker. Yeah, he hit the portal.
Saw that coming a mile away.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good pickup for somebody. I know that.
Yeah.
This one just dropped. This is why I mentioned the name Josh earlier. Josh Hoover, TCU's quarterback. He just hit the portal literally 30 minutes ago. Like, right, we started the show and he had hit the portal. So yeah, no, that's funny. But yeah, no, that's again, another great pickup. That could be because again, Joey Aguilar is playing in our bowl game, which I'll have more details on that. Don't you guys worry. I'm going to leave a post telling you guys about what I'm going to do about the protests. So yes, that's still happening.
Hoover's going to be one of the top gets in the portal for this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The reason, he could, I could absolutely see him in Knoxville. Same as Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. Good pickup for somebody there. He's going to hit the portal.
Another one that was obvious.
Bo Pribula from Missouri hit the portal.
Not so obvious. Holy fuck, right?
Yeah, right. He could be going back to Penn State.
That's possible. That's very possible. But I mean, it's going to really depend on, what the system is that they're going to need in there. I mean, Campbell's going to be a great coach for him to work with, but that's they got to have the NIL money. And I'm hearing that they just don't have enough NIL money to really compete right now. The donors have been pulling back in droves ever since the James Franklin bullshit really kicked.
Right. And then Aiden Childs, he also hit the portal, Michigan State's quarterback. Whether it's to McDonald's or Wendy's is yet to be determined, but
Maybe the Charlotte 49ers.
Probably. I would think so, but yeah, no, he's also hitting the portal. A couple other names are also up in the air, but those are at least some of the significant ones.
Yes,
there's plenty of other names in the portal, and as those continue to progress, we'll be sure to cover those, or at least I
which
will.
One of those in the portal, really quickly, which one of those that you just mentioned in the portal would you find the most desirable candidate?
Oh, Drew Messmaker, absolutely.
I would agree with that. Messmaker really did a lot this season that made me perk my eyes up because he's got a lot of fucking potential. He's got a great arm. He can throw the ball deep, and he can hit his targets really well. Not to mention he can make plays. But the problem for Drew is that he's a freshman, and he's green as shit. Not trying to be a pun for the mean green. He threw a lot of goddamn picks, and really dumb picks at that. So I think once he gets into a good system that is really good at developing quarterbacks, who the fuck knows? Honestly, I could see Lane Kiffin maybe trying to give him a look at LSU. I really could.
Different leagues.
Different leagues, my ass. That kid's got potential. He could be.
No, absolutely. Whoever gets him, that's going to be a great pickup right there. I hope it's us, but I could see us absolutely getting Josh Hoover also.
But I also hear that Oklahoma State, which is where Eric Morris went, could be the one in the running, and they are desperate for damn near anything right now. So.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, he ain't going to Auburn. I feel bad for Auburn. I feel so bad for Auburn. I know Golish is a mastermind, and I trust him maybe over time to rebuild that program. But next year's gonna be brutal.
Keyword there is overtime. It's gonna take a minute.
Jackson Arnold as your quarterback. Tim third down Banks as your defensive coordinator. It's just a recipe from hell. You guys might never see it. You guys might never see a defensive stop again.
More eagle, more like dead chicken.
Yeah. War tiger or something like that. Yeah.
No, not war tiger. That's actually scary.
Yeah. Well, that's what that are. They an eagle or are they a tiger? In my opinion, they're neither. I think they're a bucket of shit. All right. Let's move on.
Your new chance should be Joe Exotic because it's the scariest tiger you're going to find anywhere.
Right. Okay, well, we had some pretty fun bowl games over the course of these past few days. We're actually getting, when this show comes to a close, the Xbox Bowl. Xbox! I could unplug my Xbox and then show you guys. But yeah, the Xbox Bowl.
Yeah, just go full caveman. Xbox!
Yeah, it's an Xbox! Holy crap, it's an Xbox! I might do that for my postseason edition. See, the postseason edition of Cultural Chaos, since it's not such a tight schedule, that's where I get to do stupid shit and have fun. So I might do something like that. Yeah. So I might do something stupid like that. But yeah, no, Missouri State and Arkansas State in the Xbox Bowl. That's gonna be funny.
Yeah,
give me Butch Jones and the champions of life over Missouri State.
Yeah, I would agree. Give me Missouri State. They've had a really, really good season. We'll talk about their brothers in FBS debut this year, Delaware, in a moment. But it appears that the new blood FBS teams the last couple of years have really been coming in white fucking hot. It's just not been pushed.
Oh yeah, no. One of the new bloods in the FBS is in the dadgum playoffs right now. So I think that goes without saying. But yeah, no, we had some other pretty good games. The LA Bowl, Washington versus Boise State. That was competitive for about 10 seconds. Fun one right there.
I knew Boise State was kind of over the hill when it came to how they were this season. I mean, the opener against South Florida told me about all I needed to see, but the fact that the Huskies went into Los Angeles in the final LA Bowl. I mean, what the fuck's Gronk going to do next year during this time?
Yeah, no kidding.
And just absolutely beat the Broncos black and blue. Not that you could tell. It kind of shocked me a little bit, but it's also part of the course.
Right. Salute to Veterans Bowl finalized. Jacksonville State beats Troy. This was actually the two losers of their conference championships battling it out. Knew this one was going to be a good one. Jacksonville State held on in the end, 17-13. Fun game if you like defense. And a quarterback that doesn't know where his head is from his sphincter. But no, it was a pretty fun.
You know what? The other reason why I found out this game was so fun, these two guys were rivals in FCS until 2001. Like,
how about that?
Bitter rivals. So it was a rivalry renewed at that. That's why it was like so physical.
Yeah, no, and it's set up for a really fun game. But the Gamecocks hold on, get their 9th win of the season to finish things out.
Yeah, if Cruz Crowder had just stayed healthy for Troy, I think they would have had a better chance. They probably could have pulled it out, but he just
very well could have, yeah. But injuries happen. That's how they go. This one was a bit of a shocker. I'm going to say that. I knew South Florida was losing Gaulish and all that. So, but even though Gaston Moore, shout out to Gaston Moore, former volunteer, with him starting, I thought he was going to do a whole lot more in this game, but he just looked terrible out there. I don't know what happened. 2 costly interceptions that really screwed them over.
Yeah, I mean, they really missed Byron Brown in this game. That was the main linchpin of their offense all season long, Byron Brown. I mean, no Byram, no bingo, right? But you got to look at Old Dominion here, really. The Monarchs finished the season 10-3. They were in the mix for the Group of 5 playoff spot for a cup of coffee there before falling by the wayside late in the season with the loss. So I'm just saying, don't sleep on the Monarchs next year. They reset and get a few, key pieces in place. I mean, they could make a run. We'll see what the fuck happens, though.
Well, what we do know is there's a lot of player turnover in the Group of 5, so that's going to be interesting. I'll say that. Marty Phoenix, thank you for the 2, says, which G5 schools can move to a Power 4 conference? I mean, South Florida is definitely on the board. Right there, right next to Central Florida.
Yeah.
If the Big 12 ever needs more key pieces, there you go.
South Florida's been begging for it since the days of the Big East, and when the Big East fell apart and they kind of got relegated. The one team that I would say right now that could easily make the jump into a Power 4, like, say, I don't know, the ACC, if a certain team or two leaves, James Madison. Easily. They've invested so much into that football program, both with donor dollars and, effort and time. Not to mention, after losing Kurt Signetti 2 years ago, they're fucking in the playoffs. I mean, they're committed to that fucking team, man. I think James Madison, they'll be the next ones into either the Big 12 or maybe even the ACC if some shit happens.
Big possibility, I'll say that much. Here is the one everybody's excited to talk about. Delaware. Holy crap. First season in the FBS. They get to a bowl game thanks to the turnover in the with all the teams. And guess what? They come out a winner over the Raging Cajuns, 20-13, move up to 7-6. And that's their first bowl win in school history. What a phenomenal time to be a blue head, ain't that for sure?
Oh my God. I cannot believe it, guys. Look at it. It's Michigan Light, and I'm actually happy for them. I'm very happy for the Blue Hens. They deserve it. The pissing wall finally gets some hardware next to it, so that'll be good for them to celebrate with. And I still can't believe they got a fucking pissing wall. They don't have urine the whole thing because it's such an old school. It's just a wall they piss on.
Yep. Well, the piss wall was out there on the defensive line, that's for certain.
Yeah.
Raging Cajuns, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, to be fair, Delaware has been kind of streaky at times this year, and they no one really looked at them when they came in from FCS. They kind of brought their FCS team from last year into the fucking Conference USA this year. So, like, the way they performed, it didn't surprise me because they went pretty well last year. So, but I just didn't think it was going to translate that much to the next level. Turns out Conference USA is just FCS. Everybody kind of knew that.
Right. Also, keep in mind the Raging Cajuns' final record is 6-7. Okay. Anyway, dumbassery out of the way. Those are your bowl games that have been under coverage so far. Tomorrow is where things, of course, are going to get very interesting. Now, we do have one to start out with, and this one's early in the morning, 11 a.m. Kennesaw State and Michigan, or Western Michigan. I almost said Michigan State. They would be in this bowl game, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. But no, this is going to be a fun one right here. Obviously, Kennesaw State has had a phenomenal year, the most improved team in the FBS. Just a phenomenal year for them. They're sitting at 10-3 right now. Could go up to 11 wins with a win over the MAC champion in Western Michigan, who is a 3-point favorite. Who you got here?
I mean, a lot of people are sleeping on this game, and I know it's got an 11 a.m. kickoff, but you got the Conference USA champions facing off against the MAC champions. This is actually a big-time game if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like two completely different stories. Western Michigan, they've slowly but steadily been marching their way back to the top of the MAC. Meanwhile, Kennesaw State was the absolute drizzling shits last year. First year in from FCS to FBS, one of the few teams that's just been absolute trash on their first year in. And here they are. Give me fucking Hootie Hoo and the Owls to absolutely obliterate the Broncos, because the Broncos, don't get me wrong, they did all right in the MAC this year, but even the most casual fan will know that the MAC is the worst conference in all of FBS this season for football. It was a 5, 6, 7 team race to make the MAC title at the end of the season. Western Michigan just happened to be the best of the worst, but they're still not all that good. Like, they finished hot, went 0-3 and finished strong, but I just, from what I'm seeing right here, I mean, I think Odom's going to absolutely light up that Western Michigan defense. So give me the Owls. Squid?
Right there with you on that one. I'm taking the Owls here. I don't think they're going to blow Western Michigan out necessarily, but they've shown that they are more dominant when it comes to smash mouth football, like what I think we're going to get here. I think Odom's going to light up the scoreboard, and I'm going to take the Owls as well.
Sure.
Going to be a fun one for sure.
Damn right.
And then at 2:30, a little bit of an appetizer before we get to the main course, which we'll touch on soon. Memphis, 8-4 Memphis, facing NC State in the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. NC State coming in as a 3.5-point favorite. And before you jump to conclusions here, everybody, let me go to remind you that NC State went into, I forget which bowl it was, but they faced off against East Carolina last season. And, well, the Pirates wound up winners in that one. Now, of course, NC State got their revenge this year, but I don't know. Memphis is one of those teams that if they're on, they're on. If Brendan Lewis is playing really good, I could see him doing some work here. Plus the fact that I think Sutton Smith is a really good running back as well. I think he's going to do some big-time damage to this line for NC State. And I think it's going to turn into one of those old-fashioned type of shootouts where Memphis comes out the winner. Give me the Tigers.
Give me the Wolfpack. And I think the main reason why I'm going to go with NC State, I mean, Memphis is an absolutely great football team that had a great season. They were a couple of games away from being in the playoff mix at the very, very end. But they also just lost their head coach to the dreaded coaching portal. Went to fucking Hog City, if I remember correctly, because Golish wanted to go to Auburn.
Yeah.
And also NC State has proven that they can and they do have the ability to hang with the best of the best in the ACC, at least, which says a lot, honestly, compared to what the American is. They did knock off Georgia Tech in a shootout earlier this year that Georgia Tech fumbled around through. They can be a shocker at times, so I know it's kind of weird to go with them, but I'm just going to go with NC State on this one, man. I think they're going to take care of business tomorrow in the Gasparilla. By the way, the end zones for that thing, if the Pop-Tarts Bowl is about Pop-Tarts, Gasparilla is about just fully embracing the fucking pirate nature of Tampa Bay, because the end zones that they already have out on X are looking sweet.
Right. I hear you there. All right, gentlemen. Well, it is time. We got about 10 minutes left. Let's get these playoff games in coverage. All right. Well, here we go. Starting off with our first round playoff game tomorrow night, 8:00 p.m. on ABC. Number 9 Alabama going on the road to play Oklahoma in Norman. It's one of these old style rematches. Oklahoma beats Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa earlier this year. Now Bama is coming into their turf trying to get some sort of revenge. Of course, Bama kind of lucky to even be in here. They could have very well put Notre Dame over them, but no, they did not. Alabama is in this thing, and they're going to have to prove that they belong. They're coming in here as a underdog. Yes, Oklahoma is a favorite over Alabama. What a world we're living in right now. Truth be told. This is in my opinion, going to be another low-scoring defensive brawl, because these are two teams that have really good defenses, especially Oklahoma. If their defensive front is on, they're going to be shutting down Ty Simpson all night, I think. It is going to be a very tough fight, I think. But here's the thing. I think the Crimson Tide, and more importantly, I think Kalen DeBozo got a huge wake-up call when he played up against Georgia. And I think that's going to do them some significant favors, because the best thing that can happen to you whenever you're one of these bubble teams is to take a loss right before you get into the playoff slate, because now you know what you did wrong. Now you know how to adapt, adjust, and do better. And I think Bama's going to come out better. They're going to come out stronger. I think they're going to come out with a way better game plan. And Ty Simpson is going to do just enough to cross the threshold and beat the Sooners. Give me Alabama to go into Norman and get revenge.
Give me Alabama as well, as much as I don't want to admit it. I would love for Cletus and Billy to come out on Saturday morning and give you guys a little bit of Dixieland destruction because of Oklahoma. But listen, let's just be honest here. Oklahoma's offense is about as effective as a contraceptive put on backwards. It just ain't gonna fucking work. It will not work. You cannot score effectively with this offense. Look, I don't know what the fuck Jean Mateer did to his hand when they fixed it. He needs to go back and get a goddamn refund, because he has been absolute shit ever since he's gotten hurt. At the start of the season, you would think Mateer, holy fuck, it's a revelation, right? This guy's going to absolutely light the fuck out of everybody. And then their offense has just died. Satanga is the only thing on that offense really that's held them together this season. And he's one guy. The defense is what makes Oklahoma deadly. The defense is why they're here. The defense is why they beat Alabama the first time. And I don't think they're going to be able to adjust to playing Alabama again in the same season with the same personnel and be able to win again, because you don't beat Alabama 2 times in a row in the same year, unless apparently you're Michigan or something. I don't fucking know. So give me the Tide. They're gonna roll through. I think Oklahoma's only favored because it's in Norman. You know, it's like a margin of error favored here. Give me, yeah. Fuck you, Bama. But,
yeah, it doesn't matter, because whoever wins this game is going to be sacrificed to the Signetti. You get the idea. You get the idea. They got to go play. Yeah, they got to go play Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, imagine the Hoosiers beating Alabama in the fucking Rose Bowl. Heads would explode on Paul Feinbaum's show the following day.
Yikes! All right, next up, and this is the one I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes on, because it's, in my opinion, the most unpredictable. We got our new, this should have been a 7:30 game. They kind of missed out on this one, but it's at 12 o'clock p.m. at noon for us Eastern timers. Number 10, Miami, going on the road to Texas A&M. Miami and A&M, in other words, both of Notre Dame's quality losses battling against each other here. A&M's coming in as a 3.5-point favorite. Basically, these two teams are completely even in my eyes. The only thing separating the two is the fact that the 12th man is the one hosting. So I think that's going to make a big difference in this one. Very, very hard for me to say, though. In my opinion, it's very hard for me to say that Miami comes out and wins this game, because when it comes to both of these offenses, I trust A&M's a whole lot more, especially with the home field turf. Carson Beck, and Miami fans know this, Carson Beck is due for an interception in every single game. Not just that, but he's due for potentially more, especially if he's battling up against a defense as good as A&M's got. And I think they're going to be all over him. I think they're going to basically be torturing him the entire night. I think they're going to have trouble shutting down Malachi Toney. I think he's going to put up some good numbers. But even if, here's the thing, if Malachi Toney comes out of this game and he's got more than 100 yards rushing, I would say that Miami comes in here and then wins. However, I don't think he's going to get there. I think he's going to get around 50, maybe 70. I don't think he's going to get to that 100 number. I think they're going to do just enough to shut him down. And while it's going to be close, I think Marcel Reed and the Aggies are going to come out on top here at home.
I think to answer your question as to why this game is at noon, it's because of the fact that you got to deal with the TNT deal as well. They got to have their games at certain times, and ESPN wanted to hog, of course, the Alabama game, and obviously this one because they're the best two games and give TNT the scraps, which is what we're going to talk about here in a minute. There's that, number one. Number two, Oregon's on the West Coast. You can't ask them to play at noon Eastern in Oregon. It's not going to happen. And you got to give Ole Miss a little bit of time to drink in the Grove before you can let them in the stadium and play football. So I think that's the other reason why they were doing it like this. Look, I'm just going to be honest here. I don't think it's that close to a decision to make. I think this is A&M's game to lose. And the reason why is what I'm seeing on the screen right here. It's Miami literally saying, we're going to line up Malachi Tony everywhere. Well, you can't. He's one fucking guy. And you mentioned Carson Beck's due to throw an interception. He's going to throw 3 in this game because he usually throws multiple picks in big-time games. Multiple games this year against Louisville, against it's like 2 or 3 other games where he threw like 2 or 3 different interceptions. But mainly the Louisville one, which was the real like, holy fuck, this kid is bad game. This is why Georgia let him walk. He's not clutch. He is the opposite of clutch. Malachi Tony is the only reason why this offense is worth a flying fuck from the get-go. And that's the only thing really keeping them together. That, and everyone's like, oh, well, they finished hot. Who the fuck did they play the end of the season? A ranked Pitt? That's the best they got?
And Pitt wasn't ranked. Pitt wasn't even ranked.
No, they were ranked 22nd.
When Miami played them?
I think so. I think so.
No. Notre Dame beat them, and then I think they fell out of the rankings.
They fell out. And then
we might need a fact checker on that, but I think that's what happened.
They should have been ranked. I remember distinctly they were ranked.
If they were ranked, they were ranked. The point is, they weren't ranked after that. But
fuck, they should have been ranked to begin with. After that,
they were 22 when Miami played them. All right, my bad.
Good.
Go ahead.
I think there's a lot of flaws with Texas A&M in the sense of like, their offense is great. Their defense is a great defense at times. Then they'll play Notre Dame and give up 42 goddamn points. So they'll play South Carolina and have to score 4 touchdowns in a row to win the motherfucker. So there's a world where Miami can go into College Station, stun the Aggies. The Aggies mount a late comeback, and it's just enough, and then they shit the bed and battered Aggie syndrome galore. I don't think that happens this time, personally. But we'll fucking see, I guess.
I guess we'll find out in due time. But yeah, the U may not be back still.
You down.
Well, when have they ever been up, though? That's what we all ask ourselves.
All right. 2001, I think, was the last time the U was up.
Ed Reed, 5 rings. Yeah, 30 for 30. Yeah, we get it by now. Okay. Yeah. All right, next up. Speaking of rematches, look what we've got here. We got another clean, old-fashioned rematch here. Okay, well, since you're going to do that, just go ahead and tell us what you think about this game.
I vomit. I faked the vomit sound on that one, not because the matchup itself, but because like everything around this matchup is just, especially if you've been drinking for the last 2 weeks in Oxford, Mississippi. I mean, goddamn, Ole Miss loses their head coach to the Purple Tigers. Tulane comes in, they're losing their head coach as soon as the playoffs are fucking over at this point. And Tulane already got beat by 4 goddamn tutties against Ole Miss in Oxford earlier in the season against the same personnel they're putting up against them. I'd say if they play Austin Simmons, they might have the, there might be a little bit of doubt there, but they were already playing Trinidad Chambliss by that point. Look, as much as I want to believe in the Green Wave, and I think they are the better of the 2 Group of 5 teams, I don't think that Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss is going to be the death of Ole Miss in this playoff. I don't think Golding is going to single-handedly drag this team down. So give me Ole Miss. It might not be a 4-touchdown win, but I think they'll win comfortably enough.
Yeah, I think Tulane's going to put up a better fight here. since they've been in this literal exact same situation before, I think they've got a better idea of what they need to do to sort of make it close and competitive. However, even if it is competitive at half, I think Ole Miss will run away with it, sort of in the fourth quarter, and then the Rebs will get the jump. I just think the team is just too talented up front, and they've got too many weapons. I don't see a way that Tulane's going to be able to slow down Kawan Lacey. I just don't see that being the case, but I guess.
But can you imagine if Tulane has happened to be in the lead going into the fourth quarter, the amount of fire and brimstone we will be seeing online? Just don't log on to your computers if that happens, guys.
It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty, I'll tell you that much. The sky will be falling before the game even ends.
It'll be calls for Tulane to get let back in the SEC and everything.
Here's an even crazier scenario. What if this team does something? This is our final playoff game, kicking off at night, 7:30 p.m. on TNT. They're lucky to be here, but they are here thanks to Duke, the Dukes of James Madison, going into Otstead Stadium all the way across the country to play against the Oregon Ducks, who are 20.5-point favorites in this one. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, I think James Madison has a better shot. I do. I think they've got a better shot to pull the super duper funny because we don't know what to expect with them. And they've proven already that they can go blow for blow with some of these higher rated teams. I mean, look at what they did to Louisville. They didn't win the game, but they made it very competitive all the way up to the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
mind you, that same Louisville team beat another playoff. They beat another playoff team this year. So got to keep that all into consideration. It's all very, very important to note because this team, I think up front, is a whole lot better than people are giving them credit for. That's why they were able to blitz through the Sun Belt schedule. And I think Oregon is going to be in a bit of a fight here. But same thing with Ole Miss. I think the Ducks are just far too talented. But here's the difference, I think, and that is I think Dante Moore is going to be more prepared for this situation than Trinidad Chambliss is, and that's why I think they're going to sort of run James Madison over through the air towards the end of that game. I think they're going to run away with it that way, and that's how the Ducks are going to win. So while it's going to be a good fight for about 2.5, maybe 3 quarters, the Ducks are still going to get the W. Give me Oregon.
Look, I want like hell at least one of these group of 5 teams to win, if nothing else, just to shut the fuck up these commentators that I've been hearing for the better part of a week, bitching and moaning about how you shouldn't even have group of 5 teams in there when you literally have to, or you're going to get your asses sued to hell and back. Ask the BCS about that shit, by the way. Watch my video about that. Look, let's just call a spade here. Does James Madison have the talent on paper to beat Oregon? No. Does James Madison, in all likelihood, have the ability to beat Oregon? No. But can Oregon beat themselves? Oh, you bet your ass they can. You bet your fucking ass that
That's
Oregon
absolutely right.
Because that's the only way James Madison, I think, really wins. Their offense, even when they were steamrolling their conference, the Sun Belt, and laying waste, you saw glimpses in the Sun Belt championship game against Troy, where in the third quarter, Barnett was kind of a little iffy there. You see a fumble here, an interception there. The defense has to kind of come in and save the day. And then they come back and then they just go fucking nuts. And then they struggled against the Washington State. That resulted in them having to win late. You're going to have a few of those in the season anyways. I think that if Oregon does not have all the personnel they need to win, they're not going to win. You see a lot of goddamn wide receivers that are questionable on their injury report. Evan Stewart has not played all season.
Uh-oh. Red, we lost you. I'm glad this happened towards the end of the show and not midway through it. Yeah. While he's getting ready on coming back, because it's his for whatever reason his camera is having a stroke today. It keeps briefly disconnecting him, so he'll be back in a good minute or two. while he's explaining that, I'll tell you guys this. If you guys weren't here for the beginning of the show, please go back and watch it. Please go back, because it did the same exact thing while he was in the middle of screaming. Literally could not have timed a better connection issue than the one he had at the start of the show. But yeah, and so, to summarize his thoughts, and I'm sure he'll be I'm sure he'll be back to explain in brief detail. But yeah, Oregon, the more talented team here. The only way I think they could lose this ball game is if they get in their own way, which is definitely a possibility. It's the reason they got beat down by Indiana. So it could absolutely happen. He's back. Welcome back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before I was so rudely interrupted by my camera deciding that it's about at the end of its useful lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm going to say is that if the wide receivers are not there because Dante Moore has had to absolutely find escapes through other wide receivers that haven't completely rely upon guys they normally wouldn't. If the run game is at least somewhat affected and they have to make Oregon throw the ball more than they want to, mistakes are going to happen, and James Madison's going to have a chance. We'll see if it's enough. But the only way James Madison wins this game is if Oregon beats themselves. Just saying.
Very true. Very, very true. Would be funny, though. Remember, this is partly the reason why they do not have any national championships ever in the history of history.
Yeah. Yeah, because they always find a way at the worst possible time to duck themselves.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. All right, well, that's all the time we got for tonight's show. Missouri State and Arkansas State, they're actually already playing in the Xbox Bowl. And yeah, Arkansas State's already dug themselves into a hole off of a penalty. Typical Butch Jones moment. But yeah, appreciate all of you guys for being on here tonight. Again, you are all phenomenal people, and we greatly appreciate the fact that you guys were kind enough to meet us here on a Thursday night right before the playoffs. We'll both be live at the same time tomorrow. So please make sure to check out both of us. Literally use one eye for Squidtard, one eye for Red, and then watch that way. That's how it should be.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be live for that. Are you going to be live on Saturday for any of those games?
Correct. I'll be live for. I'm assuming the same one that you're doing. The big one
Miami.
The U and 8 and 4.
Yep. And then be on the lookout for potentially another video or two in the near future outside of the live streams. I got a end of the year video I'm going to be making that's going to come out probably next week or something. And then Lane Kiffin, your ass has been put on notice.
Ooh.
Because it's about to be turned into freshly cut grass in my front yard, boy. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, let me tell you.
And if you're an Oklahoma or a Bama fan, be afraid, because tomorrow, when the first playoff game kicks off, I get to make my first official Get Out video for the playoff team. So that's going to be very, very fun. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate all of y'all for being on here. We'll check with y'all again next Monday, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always. So we'll see you guys then. And as always, power to Tardaria. We'll check with y'all next time.
Please, if you have any spare change, donate to me. My camera is a piece of shit, okay? It sucks so fucking bad. I hate this fucking camera. Will you fuck off? I'm surprised it's actually still on. Jesus Christ.
You present, but you ain't really there.
Have a good weekend.